Hello everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another video over here on That's Comical, and if you're watching and it happens to be a Wednesday, happy new comic book day. Welcome to a new year of 2023, and today of course we're going to go over my stats, trends, and picks for December of 2022. I'm going to say that it definitely was an interesting year depending on my purchasing power and where trends went. It was definitely a very interesting year filled with interesting stories, not so interesting stories, and sometimes stories that just flat out surprised me for better or for worse. So we're going to start off again by taking a look at the numbers, and it was definitely a very bountiful year that I had purchased over 500 comics. As a matter of fact, this time I purchased over 550 comics. I believe that this is definitely more than I purchased in 2021. But I am definitely going to say that I don't think we're going to see a trend like this moving forward, considering my attitude on especially the big two and comics yet to come. But I think the biggest surprise when we take a look at the percentages overall for the year, especially in December and the last couple of months, is that DC just took my money. Long and the short of it, DC took my money. So many books, so many interesting events, so many events that could have went in better directions, but lo and behold, the stories, the characters, I was very much into them. Miniseries, maxi series, I really dipped my toe into everything. Marvel took a massive dive. The Image comics pretty much stayed constant, and indies, I don't really know where the future's going to go in regards to them. And when we take a look at the graph, I don't think I ever would have imagined, because take a look at where DC was at the very beginning of this year. They were pretty much neck and neck with Marvel for the lowest spot in regards to all four of these specific lines. And slowly but surely, as Marvel continued to go down, DC continued to go up. And a little bit of a surprise that I had for you guys, I decided to create a chart based on the last 2 years. So basically when I started making these videos all the way till the end of 2022, it has definitely been interesting. Take a look at the very beginning of this chart. We see the red line, that's Marvel Comics. They're at the very top. We take a look at DC, they're in the middle. And then when you take a look at the end of 2022, DC is at the very top, and Marvel is just going down, down, down. And I hate to say it, but I think Marvel is going to continue to go down, 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 because with the news of Donny Cates leaving Hulk and Thor, I just don't see any point in reading those books. There's been a couple of interesting miniseries that have showed up, especially the recent Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise, which is definitely very interesting to me, but Marvel's just not interesting at all to me right now. And Image, definitely going to continue to be invested in the Spawn universe. There's some big things coming down the line in the next couple of months, and I'm really excited to share them with you all. Pretty much until I decide to stop making these statistics videos, I'm really excited to see what the final product is going to be and who is going to be remaining on top as the best comic company. So let's take a look at my predictions from the past month, and let's see where we're going to go in 2023. So I didn't say this at the beginning of the video, so I'm going to say it right now. I just want to apologize to you all. I am a bit under the weather. I sound a little bit nasally. Unfortunately, New Year's Eve weekend was not the greatest weekend for me and my family. My daughter got her first ear infection on top of a cold, and she gave her cold to me and my wife. So basically, we were all sick during New Year's, but we're recovering, most importantly, and everybody is getting better. But it didn't stop me from reading comics and giving you guys all of this great content. And I'm always excited to see how I predicted and if I predicted correctly after the month. So December was a very good comic book month. We got a lot of good titles and some follow-ups that I was really looking forward to. But the most important question is, did the things that I was most excited to read end up being my favorite reads? So in the beginning of the month, for the first week of December of 2022, I was predicting that the best read was going to be Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duo, Book 2. It was a great read. It really was. This series by Marc Silvestri is great. I'm having a blast. And of course, just revisiting his art as one of the great artists of my generation. Great to see him doing this. But it ended up, my number one pick for the first week of December ended up being Chip Zdarsky's Batman issue 130, which was the conclusion to the Failsafe story arc. And this one had a little bit of controversy. Maybe those are the wrong choice of words. Okay, it was a very controversial issue, just because of some of the things that Chip Zdarsky decided to show Batman doing on paper, but I loved this book. I was surprised by where it went, and now I'm just even more intrigued about what's going to happen in the next story arc. And that's one of the few things that makes me really excited, because I didn't plan on going back to Batman's ongoing titles, but now Zdarsky writing Batman and Ram V writing Detective Comics, I am just back in this world and I am just loving it. And the fact that I am actually officially stopping my reading of Superman now after reading Action Comics 1050 and Son of Kal-El ending, you know, Batman's going to stick around for a little while. So I am on board for the next story arc, and I'm really excited to see what Chip Zdarsky is going to do. For the second week of December, my most anticipated read was Batman Spawn issue number 1, which is a one-shot, or so it was supposed to be. We got a little bit of a twist at the end of this one, and it was, of course, drawn by Greg Capullo and written by Todd McFarlane. It was interesting. The only problem with this book is the fact that if you just wanted to read the one-shot, unfortunately, you have to know what's been going on in the current Spawn comics. Thank goodness I have been reading the Spawn comics, so I understood just about everything that was in this book, but it was okay. You know, all this hype really didn't give me the actual book that I wanted. Not to say that it wasn't a fun read. It was definitely a fun read, but not the best read. My favorite read went to W. Maxwell Prince's reissuing of Art Brut. If you don't know what Art Brut is, it went under the original name, The Electric Sublime, over at IDW. This is W. Maxwell Prince's first miniseries. He has been working with Image Comics now a lot, especially if you're reading Ice Cream Man, and he has been given the opportunity to give us the Electric Sublime with its original title, which is Art Brut, and basically giving it to us as he intended. So the question really is this going to be more than 4 issues? Because the original IDW release ended on a massive cliffhanger. It only got me excited to read more of W. Maxwell Prince's work, but this was fun. This was a great read when I originally read it, and now I'm really excited to continue to read this specific story. For the third week of December, I was going to give it to Vanish issue number 4 from Image Comics. You know, Donny Cates has just been knocking it out of the park with this story. It's great. I loved this issue. Really excited for the next story arc, but I have to say that I never would have saw this coming. The top pick of the third week went to World's Finest issue number 10 from Mark Waid over at DC Comics. Whoa! This book was something different. It gave me a last page that I never would have seen coming, because we find out who Superman's mysterious new sidekick truly is. And let me just say, if you are a DC fan, if you are a Mark Waid fan, your jaw is going to hit the floor when you see that last page. This issue was incredibly good. I highly recommend this series. If you have not been reading Batman Superman World's Finest, this is one of the best comics that DC is giving to us right now, especially if you just want to have a great time. So I highly recommend that you pick up World's Finest. And for the final prediction of December 2022, the final prediction of the year, I actually predicted right. It was really upsetting to see that I only predicted one of my 4 predictions for December, but I'm just glad that the one that I predicted correctly was the good one. And that, of course, was from Marvel Comics, Miracle Man, The Silver Age, issue number 3, from Neil Gaiman, and drawn by Mark Buckingham. This is the book that we have all been waiting for. This is the official continuation of the Silver Age that Neil Gaiman was trying to do way back in the early 90s when Eclipse Comics went out of business. We have not seen the continuation of the Silver Age story arc until December 2022. It was not what I expected, but it was still a very interesting read, and it was definitely the most interesting read that I read that week, even though the last week of December, surprisingly, was a big new comic book week. I think I walked away with 15 books from my local comic book store that day. Haven't had a haul like that in a long time. But this book was great. I am obsessed with Miracle Man now. You're going to hear that name numerous times over here on That's Comical, most likely coming from me, because after reading the Silver Age issue 1 and 2, I hunted down the Marvel publishings of the Alan Moore run, and I also got the reissuing of the Golden Age story arc from Marvel Comics as well. So I have been catching up on this superhero and this story, and this book may be my all-time favorite comic. Every single issue blew my mind up until this point. I've officially concluded the Alan Moore run. I just started the Neil Gaiman run. I'm still reading the Silver Age regardless, but I'm definitely going to revisit the Silver Age issues 1 and 2 after I finish the Golden Age, just to get how everything fits. I think I know how it is fitting, but Miracle Man is special. This is the best thing that Marvel Comics is giving us. This is probably the one book that not that many people know even exists. So I would highly recommend that you just do some research on Miracle Man, and especially if you're a Neil Gaiman fan, you've got to read this book. It is amazing. So, that was 2022. What are we looking forward to in 2023? For the first week of January, so long as the book does not get rescheduled, I am giving it to the penultimate issue of Stillwater over at Image Comics by Chip Zdarsky. I have been reading this book since the very beginning. So sad to see that it's going to be concluding in February, but I am very excited to see how this issue is going to unfold. For the second week of January of 2023, I am giving it to a book that someone that I've been following over here has already read, and he said it is great, and people are saying that this book, Black Cloak, by Kelly Thompson over at Image Comics, may in fact be the next Saga. So I've been reading Saga, I'm all caught up on Saga, and I'll read another book that is equivalent or better than Saga. I'm excited for Black Cloak. I hope that it is good. For the third week of January, I am going to give it to Superman Batman World's Finest, issue number 11, the penultimate issue of the second story arc, only because of the fact that that ending in issue number 10 was so monumental. I am now dying to see how Mark Waid concludes this story arc. World's Finest, guys. I'm going to praise this comic as well, because after this story arc, I'm definitely going to read the third story arc. This book is just flat out fun and entertaining. And for the last week of January 2023, provided it does not get rescheduled, I am giving it to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years over at IDW. Kevin Eastman returning to help create The Last Ronin, which was one of the best comics that I read. I believe I called it the best comic of 2020, even though it took forever for all 5 issues to come out. I'm hoping that this 5-issue series does not do the same, but I am really excited to see how The Last Ronin, aka Michelangelo, got from point A to point B, which led to the story of The Last Ronin. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that this is just as good, if not better. So those are my stats, trends, and picks for December of 2022. I am hoping that you all enjoyed your own comic reading back in 2022, now that the year has gone. So please post your comments in the box below. What were some of your favorite reads in December of 2022, and what are you looking forward to in 2023? But in the meantime, everybody, I will see you in the next one.